We have Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers taking on Jayden Daniels and the Washington Commanders in Green Bay. This is your Week 2, 2025 prediction and preview video. Hit subscribe if you're new. Also hit the like button. Let's start off with the home team, the Green Bay Packers. They're coming off an amazing win last week against the Detroit Lions. A division matchup, whenever you win in the division, it's amazing. But it's how the Green Bay Packers won. They came out red hot straight out the gate. They won this matchup 27-13. And Jordan Love was very aggressive early on. On the day, Jordan Love was 16-22, 188 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns. He was very efficient when he realized his defense could go out there and get to Jared Goff at a high clip. They stopped the run, and they went to the run game with Josh Jacobs. In this matchup against the Washington Commanders, stick with the run game the same way that you did against the Detroit Lions. It's not going to always be pretty, but as long as you give Jordan Love that help on the back end with a run game, the play action bootleg will work out into his favor with key weapons like Romeo Doubs, who had 2 catches, 68 receiving yards last week against the Detroit Lions. He had a beautiful catch deep down the middle of the field. He split both safeties that went for 48 yards. Jayden Reed, he had 3 catches, 45 receiving yards, 1 receiving touchdown. His longest catch of the day went for 26 receiving yards. And you have Dontavian Wicks. You run the football and you keep the Washington Commanders honest. The one thing that we all know about Dan Quinn, he has been a phenomenal head coach with the Washington Commanders. But in the past, when he was a head coach with the Atlanta Falcons, when he was a defensive coordinator with the Dallas Cowboys, those teams gave up a lot of rushing yards on the ground. And the same with the Washington Commanders last year. Now, last week against the New York Giants, they did a phenomenal job against the run. But they did not go against a running back that has the skill set like Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs, 19 carries, 66 rushing yards, averaged 3.5 yards a carry. Not perfect, but he did have a rushing touchdown. Run the football and use misdirection in your advantage. The one thing that Coach LaFleur has done a great job of, even dating back to his time when he had Aaron Rodgers on this roster, is a bunch of motion to help the quarterback get a better view of the field. And you have to use it in this matchup. The strength of the Washington Commanders is getting to the quarterback and playing very good passing defense on the back end. So keep the Commanders honest in this matchup and let Jordan Love use his legs. I mentioned this in my last prediction and preview video when the Packers went against the Lions. At the beginning portion of last season, Jordan Love was dealing with a knee injury. He was dealing with a groin injury last year. Now he's fully healthy. Let him use his athleticism inside and outside the pocket and design some play action rollout plays. Let Jordan Love cook behind his line of scrimmage. The defense last week, they were amazing. They controlled the game just like how the offense did. They went against Jared Goff and the Detroit Lions, and you have a lot of Lion fans saying, well, we have a brand new offensive coordinator, a brand new defensive coordinator. But the players, they're the same. You dominated one of the best offensive line units in the NFL with Micah Parsons, and the same with Lucas Van Ness. Lucas Van Ness had the best game of his career last week against Detroit. And a lot of that is because he has been freed up. He has one-on-one coverage now. You have to go out there, you have to chip and pay attention to Micah Parsons on the opposite side. And Micah Parsons did have a sack. The rushing defense last week with the Detroit Lions was phenomenal. And you need that in this matchup. When you go against a team like the Washington Commanders, they have Cliff Kingsbury as an offensive coordinator. He loves to run his offense through his backfield with Jayden Daniels and his legs and with those running backs in the backfield like Austin Eckler, and the same with Jacory. Your front seven has to dictate this game and put that pressure on Jayden Daniels. Devontae Wyatt had a very good game last week, and the same with Kobe Woodson and Rashawn Gary. This front seven in the past has struggled to generate pressure up front on a consistent basis. By adding in one of the best pass rushers in the game, it has flipped everything around. Carry over that momentum in this matchup. And Micah Parsons and Lucas Van Ness, they will be the X factors in this matchup by keeping Jayden Daniels in contained situations. It's not always about sacks. Sometimes it's about going out there and creating pressure and making sure that the opposing quarterback does not go out there and make crazy plays. We've seen Jayden Daniels in his career. Last week against the New York Giants, all last year, he was one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL when the play breaks down. You have to keep him inside the pocket. He can kill you with his arm. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that he can't. But you don't want your defense on the back end to have to go out there and cover for an extra 2 to 3 seconds, because that's when those deep bomb plays can happen to a player like Deebo Samuel, and the same with Terry McLaurin. So contain the run game with the Washington Commanders. and contain the legs of Jayden Daniels and limit those big plays deep down the field. And watch out for Deebo Samuel in the open field. This is a system with the Washington Commanders. They run a lot of screen plays, a lot of RPO action, and a lot of high-tempo offense. So you have to have your cardio right in this matchup if you are the Green Bay Packers, and they did a phenomenal job of that last week against the Detroit Lions. As far as the secondary here with the Packers, you play through Xavier McKinney. He is still one of the best players in the NFL at the safety position. Last year had a historic season. Last week, he played very well. Most quarterbacks, they go away from him because they know 9 times out of 10, if you test him, he's going to walk away with an interception. Play this secondary through him. You could play some press man coverage in this matchup if it is 3rd and long. And that's what they did last week against Detroit. I wouldn't go out there and blitz Jayden Daniels. He's one of the best quarterbacks against the blitz within his short career. But if you can create that pressure with that front seven, you'll be fine. And Jeff Hafley is one of the best defensive coordinators in the game. But you have key names to watch out for, like Javon Bullard inside the nickel position. He's also a strong safety with this roster. You have Keyshawn Nixon and Isaiah McDuffie at the linebacking position with Adrian Cooper. A very talented Green Bay Packers team carry over that momentum from last week and try to beat the Washington Commanders up front, but generating a lot of pressure and stopping the run game and trying to make them one-dimensional as much as possible. Take a break from today's action and let's talk about today's sponsor, DraftKings. With the NFL season being placed into full effect, Sundays, Mondays, and Thursdays just got a bit more interesting. You can win big on and off the field with your favorite teams. Live betting before and at the halfway point of the game. You can dominate just like your favorite team from whistle to whistle. And check this out. For brand new customers, you use code ALLPRO. That is code ALLPRO. You bet $5, you get $300 in bonus bets. And on top of that, you will get $200 off of NFL Sunday Ticket through YouTube or even YouTube TV. That is a steal. And you can always go in and dominate on and off the field, just like your favorite players and your favorite teams. One more time, use code ALLPRO. You bet $5 if you're a new customer, you get $300 in bonus bets. And once again, I want to shout out DraftKings for sponsoring today's video. Let's get back to the action. Now let's talk about Jayden Daniels and the Washington Commanders. They're coming off an amazing win as well. They defeat the New York Giants. They did not surrender a touchdown in this matchup. They won this game 21-6. Jayden Daniels was 19-30, 233 passing yards, 1 passing touchdown. Jacory, the rookie running back, looked phenomenal. 10 carries, 82 rushing yards, 1 run, did go for 42 rushing yards, and he had a rushing touchdown. In this matchup against the Green Bay Packers, you have to have your offensive line protection on point against Lucas Van Ness and Michael Parsons. Now, Michael Parsons is a former player in this division with the Dallas Cowboys. He's went against his team before. And the Washington Commanders, they know him. They know his tendencies. You have to pay attention to him and Lucas Van Ness, and the same with Rashawn Gary. You cannot let the front seven of the Green Bay Packers dictate this game, because that's what happened last week against Jared Goff. Now, Jared Goff is more so of a statue inside the pocket. Jayden Daniels, he's electric. He's one of the best dual threat quarterbacks in the game. On top of him having 233 passing yards and 1 passing touchdown, he had 68 rushing yards last week. The RPO system with him and Austin Eckler and with Terry McLaurin coming across the middle is one of the best trio plays in football from last season and last week as well. You have to run this offense through Jayden Daniels, his legs, and the same with the running backs in the backfield with a bunch of misdirection. That 2-back set could give the Green Bay Packers a lot of problems. You have to test out the athleticism with the Green Bay Packers towards the edge and try to get some of those sideline to sideline runs over and over again with your electric players. Deebo Samuel was the leading wide receiver last week, 7 catches, 77 receiving yards, and he had 10 targets. Deebo Samuel also had a rushing touchdown, and it went for 19 yards. This is a run-heavy system with the Washington Commanders and so much misdirection. But one player was very quiet last week, and that was Terry McLaurin. Now, Terry McLaurin did miss majority of training camp. He had a hold-in situation. Wasn't working out. He wanted his contract extension. They gave him a massive contract extension. He had 2 catches last week, 27 receiving yards. They need to go out there and they need to gel with him on the outside. He's that deep threat. He's that do-it-all wide receiver. But he's a field flipper. He can go out there. If you are third and long, you take that deep shot down the field, especially if it's a one-on-one situation. Next thing you know, it's first and goal. And we've seen that before with the Washington Commanders many times last year and even last week. Get those explosive plays on the ground. But I like the Washington Commanders in this matchup against the Green Bay Packers. And we'll talk about the Packers offensive line protection towards the end of this video, but let's touch on the offensive line protection with the Washington Commanders here. They did a very good job last week against Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeaux, Abdul Carter. Abdul Carter had a couple of splash plays, and the same with Kayvon Thibodeaux. But for the most part, the offensive line performed very well. This was the Achilles heel last year with the Commanders. Laramie Thompson at the left tackle position. Still one of the best tackles to have in the game. And you have Josh Connerly at the right tackle position. He's a rookie. This will be his second game. Pay attention to the tackles in this matchup. Those are the X-factor players in this game. I trust that Jayden Daniels is going to go out there and do his thing. And the same with Deebo Samuel and the same with Terry McLaurin. And you have Tyler at the center position. Just pay attention to the tackles here. And we'll see if Luke McCaffrey can find his way on the field and if he can be a prominent wide receiver in this matchup. As far as the defense for the Washington Commanders, like I mentioned, you didn't surrender a touchdown last week. That's amazing. But you have to go out there and focus on stopping the run. This is the one thing that bothers me with Dan Quinn being a head coach. He's done a better job of this over the last few years. But when they go against top-end talent at the running back position, they give up a lot of yards. You cannot let Josh Jacobs go out there and get those splash plays on the ground. Jordan Love has mobility, but he's not a runner like Jayden Daniels, Lamar Jackson, or Josh Allen. You have to go out there and stop the run game of the Green Bay Packers, and then can pin your ears back and you can get to the quarterback with the phenomenal players that you have in your front seven. Frankie Louvu is a legit monster. He's one of the best do-it-all linebackers in the game. He can stop the run. He can guard tight ends in space. He can cover running backs out of the backfield, and he can rush the passer. He's an X-factor player in this matchup on the defensive end. Daron Payne, excellent defensive tackle, and you have Javon Kinlaw. Pay attention to that 3 defensive tackle set that they have with Johnny Newton. Those are 3 very good players in the interior of this defense. You have Dorrance Armstrong on the outside. He had a sack last week. And you still have Bobby Wagner holding things down at the middle linebacker position. The secondary right now is still the strong suit of the Washington Commanders, even dating back to last year. You have Marshawn Lattimore, Mike Sainristil, Trey Amos. And you need these cornerbacks to go out there and do their job. There's not one standout wide receiver right now with the Green Bay Packers, but that can work into their favor. Matthew Golden, pay attention to him and his speed. Jordan Love is more so of a point guard playing behind this line of scrimmage. He can get the football out to anyone. Tucker Kraft. I mentioned the wide receivers before. Dontavian Wicks, Romeo Doubs. So there's not a one go-to guy with this roster. So everyone in the secondary, they need to hold their own. And this is what they did last week against Russell Wilson. And it all started with pressure up front. If Dan Quinn can get a lead with his offense, he could pin his ears back and he could tell his front seven, get out to Jordan Love. We could play that press man coverage and play that cover 1. Or even the cover 2 in certain situations. But it starts with the front seven and stopping the run. The Green Bay Packers have to contain the run and tackle in space against weapons like Deebo Samuel, and the same with Jacory. You just have to make sure that Josh Jacobs doesn't get to the second and third level, because if he does, more than likely he's going to go for a long gain. He's going to go for a rushing touchdown if you're not careful. But the linebackers, I like them with the Washington Commanders, and I like the talent that they have on the back end. And one more thing here with the Green Bay Packers. The offensive line unit was just phenomenal last week. With Zach Tom, Rasheed Walker at the left tackle position. They have special players up front protecting Jordan Love. They have one of the most underrated offensive lines in football. This is going to be a tough and a physical game. We have two of the better younger quarterbacks in the NFC with Jayden Daniels and Jordan Love. This should be a fun matchup. This may be game of the week, depending on how the rest of the games play out. But this is an amazing Thursday night football game to have in week 2. With all that being said, it is hard as hell to win in Green Bay when you are the road team. But the Washington Commanders are not your ordinary road team. I have the Green Bay Packers winning this matchup 28-24. But let me know in the comment section below, who do you have winning this game? The Washington Commanders or the Green Bay Packers? If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. Most importantly, want each and every last one of you guys stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for the video, guys. God bless.